You would love anything right now. You're from Philly. You guys got LeBron. Like, I could tell you that the sun's never going to shine again. I could tell you everything's going down the toilet. You wouldn't believe me. You're the happiest person I know.
Well, remember, we had a big sort of issue on the show. I always wanted to play that 76ers song where I mess up the lyrics, and it's been getting a lot of play lately. I'll be honest, Maggie, I was off the Sixers bandwagon because of Embiid was never going to be healthy. I was like, this is a waste of time. Last year was just depressing. And then getting Jaylen Brown won. It was like, okay, I'm pretty much back. And then when LeBron came on, I'm like, I'm back, baby. Unfortunately, I can't afford tickets to go see him play. That's the only problem. But, for many, first of all, the excitement level, it's got like a Dr. J. Allen Iverson vibe, just an icon in Philadelphia. So that's cool. Also, someone's got to teach Embiid and Maxey how to win championships, how to play at a high level. So I'm looking at LeBron as his mentor type. Of course, this is, we're the beginning of August. Who knows what it's going to be like when he's injured in January. But right now, I couldn't be happier.
I got to tell you, though, you're going to have to reimagine one of the most stalwart opinions that you've ever had, which is that MJ is superior to LeBron James. And if he wins a title for Philadelphia, I think you got to go at least you got to nudge yourself a little towards LeBron, don't you?
I mean, if he wins a title in Philadelphia, I might get a tattoo saying LeBron greater than sign Jordan. I'm full on. Are you kidding me? But he's not going to win. But yes, I'll do that.
Well, we'll get to that. We have a lot of months to get to whether or not they're actually going to win. But the funniest part about our debate, and we'll get to stock up, stock down in just a second, but the funniest part about our debate over all those years was I used to use longevity as one of my pro LeBron kind of, facts or whatever, in the debate. And you would always say, no, longevity has nothing to do with it. What about peak? But now that he's 41 and he's going to be a serious linchpin, the cog that has been missing for your 76ers, I think you have to acknowledge now that longevity actually matters in this debate.
Well, it's not just longevity. It'd be a miracle to bring this team to a title because they haven't made a conference finals. They haven't won since 82-83. So it's almost like Cleveland Part 2 a little bit. So honestly, no, I'm still going at it. You know me well enough to know that I'm always going to go Jordan. And it's very much a generational thing. If you grew up watching Jordan, you pick Jordan. If you grew up watching LeBron, you pick LeBron. But here's the thing. That's a huge if. Let's be honest. It's a huge if. If he wins here, that might be one of the more it's much more surprising than the Lakers, right? I mean, because he's 41 now. We were surprised. I think we were pretty surprised by the Lakers, but and that was a bubble title. We'd be shocked by this.
I just think what's the funniest part about this, which is not getting nearly enough play, in my opinion, is the fact that he actually wanted to be the savior for the Knicks, but they won the title, and he just sort of surveyed the landscape, where else could I be a savior? Oh, Philadelphia, and they got Jaylen Brown. So
he might live in New York, is the rumor, right?
Yeah, I think that this is so. That fact and that detail to me is only going to become relevant if things go wrong. It's going to be one of those tack on things that people say, like the sports talk radio hosts and people like LeBron, he can't do this, he can't do that. And he doesn't even live here. It's only going to be a problem if things go wrong. If things are fine, no one's going to bring it up.
Well, his buddy JJ Redick lived in my neighborhood in Brooklyn and played for the Sixers. It's not that far. It can be done. And who knows LeBron and helicopters, but he'll be fine.
So it's such a weird detail. There's not mansions in Philadelphia. There's plenty of them. Where do you think Bryce Harper lives? In a shack? I mean, I don't get it. I will never get it. Okay, let's get to a little stock up, stock down. Obviously, the stock can't be higher for the Sixers right now. So they have nowhere to go. I don't know, but down. I don't know. We'll check in with them periodically. But as the guest, would you like to get it started with a stock up or stock down, or you want me to go first?
Okay, can I do a stock down? And I know we're going to get into football and training camp started, but you know more baseball than me. But the Dodgers possibly getting Tarik Skubal, as Jeff Passan of ESPN said, is likely. This is too much. This is just too much, Maggie. I'm out. I mean, because Shohei's coming back to the mound reportedly. They're going to get Glasnow and Snell back. Give somebody else a chance. I like the Dodgers. They seem like likable players. I'm a huge Shohei fan. I love Mookie Betts. But I mean, this feels, for me, for some reason, this would be the straw that broke the camel's back, because my understanding is really the best pitcher in baseball. And it's almost like, give him to the Brewers and let's like have a competition. I don't know. It just strikes me as maybe this will be the last straw.
Which is funny because you're not particularly anti-super team. That's
No.
not generally, and I don't
already. That's
what
they already are a super team.
Right. So listen, I don't love it either. Like, I didn't love it when Shohei took all that deferred money, because even that felt a little bit weird to me, and it allowed them to sign all these other players. And I know he's just being a good teammate, but it was like, wow, the Dodgers actually can afford it. Like, why would you give the discount to the team that's printing money? Although now one of their principal owners, Mark Walters, might be in a little bit of trouble because of some other businesses that he's involved in. But that's a conversation for another day. Here's the thing. This is what I think the Dodgers are doing. Obviously, like, they know they're the number one destination. They know guys want to pitch there because they're the two-time World Series champs and they have a chance for a third. I also think, not to get boring about it, but the CBA is going to change in the offseason, and there's going to be a lockout or something. It's going to affect the big market teams and the big spending teams more than the smaller ones, right?
Yeah.
So if they start putting all these limits and more punitive stuff on the big spending teams, like, this is the time for the Dodgers. You reel off the third one. You're a no doubt dynasty. You are going to be making money off Shohei Ohtani now till the end of time, even when he's not a part of your team anymore, because of the legacy that he's now left with the Dodgers. And I think you just leave no doubt. Like, if I'm LA, I go for the jugular. I go for Skubal. He's not going to re-sign with you until, this lockout stuff is all taken care of. You don't even know if you are going to re-sign him. If you're going to have the capability of doing it, go for the throat, man.
Yeah,
go for the throat.
You
go
lose
for
the
the
top
third
prospect.
one.
Yep. You lose one of the best prospects, but you're right. I'm with you. I forgot about get it in before the rules change. That's a great point.
But yeah, it all feels a little bit funky. I gotta also go a stock down here, and I know you wrote about this recently, but I can't talk about this story enough. I did a little bit on the last podcast, but since then more stuff has come out. And this is, to me, like, it's got to go stock down San Francisco 49ers. Pearl, you and I talked about this many times on our show. There's no middle ground with the 49ers. Either the season's phenomenal, double-digit wins, they upset your Eagles in the wild card round, they go to the Super Bowl, they either have these amazing seasons or they bottom out. 6-win team, 4-win team. There's just no middle. And you start the season off with your head coach in this really horrific car accident. It was a little strange how the story came out. Even stranger still that at first the fault was fixed to the other driver, and it wasn't until Kyle Shanahan set the record straight. No, I was at fault for the accident. Then you have like brewing over all of this, or simmering, around all of it. Still got a Brandon Ayuk situation. You still have a team that's getting a little bit older in some of the defensive positions and some of your big positions. They just brought Deebo Samuel back. They're going to Australia to start the season. Like, there's just so much here in the stew for San Francisco that either it's going to end in Super Bowl or it's going to end in 6 wins. And I can't tell yet which way this is going to go.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They always defy the odds and sometimes pull these great seasons out. But you forgot to mention, I don't know if you mentioned, Ricky Pearsall could be out for the year.
Yes.
Yeah, their former first-round wide receiver. Their last year's pick, Mykal Williams, is coming off an ACL. They're old. Christian McCaffrey is 30. He led the league in touches last year with over 400. There's a lot that could go wrong here. And I didn't even really want to get into the Kyle Shanahan thing. For some reason, to me, it felt like I didn't want to touch it. Like, I'm not sure what you said last time. It's like, okay, everyone's all right. Because there is this, I'm sorry to sidetrack here. There's this tendency to think everything in media is nefarious now. Like, it's funny because I was thinking about it. Shohei, your favorite story ever was Ipe. You loved Ipe. And now the Kyle Shanahan gets in an accident that's not reported immediately, which was strange. And immediately everyone's like, okay. And there's no body cam. What's the conspiracy? So that's sort of looming to the side of the analysis. I don't know. Do you feel that way about this story?
Yeah, well, it just felt a little like he was getting preferential treatment, whether he was or he wasn't. That's how it looked. And I think people, especially nowadays, like, no one has an appetite for rich and famous people getting away with stuff.
Yes.
You know? And so, yeah, there was a little bit of entitlement. Whether that is actually true or not, though, that's how it felt. And the other part, though, about impacting the season, dealing with a concussion. Listen, we talk about it with players all the time. It's really serious, impacting your brain, his nose, his ribs, his shoulder, everything else is going to heal. But the long-term impacts of a concussion, a guy's got to be in a room watching film for hours upon hours upon hours. He said the noise is really bothering him more than anything else. The loud music blaring at practice. What's a game day like? Not to mention fly to Australia, flying back. Like, I know we have a few weeks for all of this, but to me, he's got to be one of the sharpest guys in the entire organization. And if he's dealing with the long-term impacts or any impact of that concussion, I think that's fair to say, wow, that puts this team at a disadvantage.
Oh, absolutely. And, also the emotional toll of that. You have to be all in as a coach. And I was reading Chris Sims, his buddy's quotes. He said his wife sent him a photo. There was an open cut over his eye, that like open wounds. And it would, concussion, it was July 14th. I think that's the day. And we're talking on the end of the month. This is a big, serious concussion. I have a friend, Maggie, Kevin Cobb, whose life was changed forever by a string of I think it was 2 or 3 concussions within a month, including one. He thought he was going to start for your Buffalo Bills, and he slipped, and it aggravated an existing concussion. It can go down a hill. But in the bigger picture, everything seems to be going wrong for them, which is when they win. But even so, is Kyle Shanahan, my point in my column was Kyle Shanahan is like Andy Reid. He got really close, but he's probably going to win at his second stop because he's a good enough coach to win a Super Bowl. Clearly, I just don't think the window is going to match up because if he's there for 15 years, that's too long. John Harbaugh had to leave Baltimore after 17. I just think a coach's message gets stale eventually.
Yeah, and Kyle Shanahan's going to be going into year 10. So very interesting, but you can't say that things are trending in a good direction for San Francisco. That wouldn't make any sense. Meanwhile, though, I will go stock up, and this is another football training camp story. How are things not looking good for Kyler Murray? I mean, this is a guy who was the butt of the joke, had a video game addiction, playing for I want to say, irrelevant franchise, the Arizona Cardinals, who have these kind of little, peaks, I guess, of relevancy, but not really. And he walks into what might be the easiest quarterback competition of all time. He's got to beat out JJ McCarthy.
Hey, that's not nice.
I know. And I'm actually, you can see I'm in a cabin here. I'm actually in Michigan. I'm very much in Wolverine country right now. And I know he's a legend here, but in the NFL, it has not gone that way. So to me, we don't have to spend tons of time on it. But I was really surprised about the Vikings, considering they still have Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator, but they are picked to dead last in the NFC North, dead last. And I get it, but think about it. You've got Kevin O'Connell's got to be somewhat on the hot seat. I mean, his general manager was fired in the offseason. So, once the GM is fired, everyone starts looking at you. He has been able to retain this defense. They get Kyler Murray for $1.3 million. I mean, the Cardinals are still paying all that money to Murray. So you have a chance to kind of kick, save, and a beauty this quarterback situation where Kevin O'Connell, quite frankly, I don't know, kind of read it wrong with JJ McCarthy. They should have kept Sam Darnold. I mean, obviously, in hindsight, that's a huge mistake. Yeah. And so this is a chance to kind of right that. And I think if Kyler Murray can have what was his best year, 2020, a 2020 type season, and why not? You always love to tell me Minnesota is the place this is the place where quarterbacks find redemption.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yes. Warren Moon, Case Keenum, Jeff George, Randall Cunningham. That's such a good point. Oh my, I'm drafting Kyler Murray in the first round of fantasy now. But let me ask you a big picture though, Maggie. Kyler Murray tends to be injury prone, and Minnesota might be bad. Wouldn't you want to get into this draft with the quarterbacks? That they have these amazing draft quarterbacks, and I don't think Kyler Murray is leading them to a Super Bowl. Maybe I'm wrong because I didn't think Sam Darnold was going to lead them to a division crown. But you might want to look big picture with with Minnesota. So I don't really know what they're achieving with Kyler Murray, but you were right about him. Man, he stepped into a much, much better situation than Arizona.
So speaking of this great quarterback class that's supposed to be coming up in the 2027 draft, this leads me to my next stock up, if you don't mind, if I just jump you real fast.
Please.
And I'm actually going to go stock up on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for not giving Baker Mayfield the sun, the moon, and the stars.
Yeah.
I don't understand why more people don't get what Tampa is obviously doing here. Like, they are trying to reset. I'm not saying they're tanking. It'd be too hard to do that in that division. And I think they, like, probably feel, I'm sure they like Baker Mayfield. I'm sure they appreciate Baker Mayfield. But there's also a conversation about Vita Vea and whether or not he's going to get traded. Clearly, the team is trying to get a bit younger. I don't think Todd Bowles is going to be long for this job, maybe either. I could see a complete reset. So when I saw that Baker Mayfield was all upset and griping in the media about how he didn't get a long-term deal on par with Jordan Love, Brock Purdy. I mean, he's 6 years older than these guys.
Yeah.
I don't know why he thought he was getting a long-term deal. Sure, you want to get a high, like a high average annual, you pay him $50 million, whatever, a year, but I'm not giving him 5 years.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he struggled the last 2 years. I saw us at 4-8 without Mike Evans over the last 2 years. Fell apart last year because of injuries. He's a great quarterback in a system, but if you take that system away, then it's going to be hard. I totally agree. Like, look at his records in Tampa Bay. He's 9-8, 10-7, 8-9. Like, you're not winning a Super Bowl there with Baker Mayfield, and that's got to be the goal there. So I agree. It's like ripping a Band-Aid. I like Baker Mayfield, so I think you put it really well because I hadn't really formulated that same exact thought yet. But he's a good quarterback. I don't think you're not saying he's not a good quarterback. You're just saying you don't build your franchise around him salary cap wise. And I totally agree.
He's too old at this point for me to go all in. And I don't know if he's going to have a career like Matthew Stafford, where he's playing this well as he's, getting so much older. And I think Tampa looked and said, Tom Brady played for $25 million. We got a Super Bowl out of him. Yeah. And we don't feel this urgency that we have to pay you and give you everything that you want. So I could see Tampa, again, not bottoming out, but if this draft class is really going to be 7-8 quarterbacks deep, I don't think you need to bottom out. I think you can possibly get your guy, if you just have to get a little creative, but I don't think you have to be picking in the top 3 to get the best quarterback in the 2027 draft.
I 100% agree. All right, I got to stock up.
Yeah.
And this is for clicks. Have you noticed, I don't know exactly how to word this, there is even more hype than there has been the last couple of years for the Dallas Cowboys. There is optimism. Quiet optimism is abounding. I think people are going to start picking them for the Super Bowl this offseason. I saw Dak Prescott made a comment about Super Bowl is the goal. They look like they fixed a defense with Quinton Williams and Kenny Clark in the middle. It just feels like all arrows are up in Dallas. But I'm not saying up on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm saying up on the hype for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, you might argue it's always up, but I feel like last year was a little bit down. Now it's back. It's back. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of playoff predictions. Why can't they make the NFC title game? We're back to that. I mean, a few years ago, we did that all the time. Have you noticed the same thing, Maggie?
Yes. And I think it's because everyone took a vacation from it last year.
Yes.
And now they're back. Also, I think there actually is a little proof of concept with Brian Schottenheimer. Like, the offense was good. The defense was terrible, obviously. And there was all the drama about Micah Parsons and Jerry. And I think we just needed a break from all that. And they didn't make the playoffs. And so now you almost have to say, like, statistically, it's like, all right, they missed the playoffs last year. Are they really going to miss the playoffs 2 years in a row? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact of the matter is George Pickens seems to be totally fine. We thought that was going to be a big offseason storyline. It hasn't been a peep. But yeah, no, Dak coined this phrase, greatest offense there is. Like, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. It's called the greatest offense there is. Sure. But
I don't know.
We're also getting to the end here with Dak. Like, he's
how
like
many
32, more years or is?
I guess he's only 32.
but he's been in Dallas for a decade.
Yeah. But again, now I'm getting back to the point where I have this internal thing like, watch out, don't fall for the Cowboys hype. Like that's what I put that guard down last year because you're right. We didn't really do it last year. Now everyone's back. I mean, let's face it. They are in the same division with the Eagles who seem, who knows about the OC? They seem loaded. And the Giants and Commanders will be better than they were last year. You asked, is there a chance they don't make the playoffs? Of course. I think they're right in they're not the Rams and they're not the Seahawks. That's right. So I think I have to watch myself, Maggie. When I do my playoff predictions, I have to watch myself. Beware the Dallas hype.
Actually, I have another hype-related one for you. But just quickly, while we're here, let's get some division odds, shall we?
Yeah.
Right now, it's Eagles plus 115, then Dallas at plus 235, Commanders and Giants further down.
Okay.
They're hanging in. I wanted to get your thoughts on another hype story because this one feels like it's done a complete 180, and I have no idea why. Stock up Cleveland Browns, everything looking positive.
Mm-hmm.
A Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson quarterback battle, maybe use air quotes there. We should be getting minute by minute updates here. Deion Sanders goes to training camp this week. This should have caused flyovers. I want the helicopter that does the traffic reports. I want that level of coverage. And instead, it's all like, hey, we should have had Deion here last year. This feels positive. Todd Monken offering an olive branch, as the new head coach of the Browns. Myles Garrett is gone. And yet somehow things have gotten more positive. Deshaun Watson could be starting, and yet things seem positive. Where did the drama go in Cleveland?
You're right. It's nothing but, first of all, Jared Verse, who came in, was a great second place prize. He's fantastic. I was a little surprised at how that went down. Shedeur has a lot of friends in the media. The media likes Shedeur Sanders. I've seen it. There are a lot of champions, and hopefully they're right. He was 3-4 last year. He looked fine, but I've read more positive stuff about we all knew Shedeur was going to be a starter in the NFL. Then why did he fall to the fifth round? There's been a total 180 on this man, and I get, there's rumors that he's grown up a little bit. I never thought he wasn't that grown up anyway, but yeah, you're right. And I think it's more Shedeur related than Deshaun Watson related. I think there's a lot of positive energy around Shedeur. A lot of people don't think Deshaun will stay healthy. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, obviously, if you put them, let's take all the off the field stuff with Deshaun Watson and just put it to the side for a second. But obviously, if you line them up, Watson is the better quarterback. He's further along in his career. If he can stay healthy, he would win this job. But it's there's no drama. There's no, it's right. Just these two guys who are, I guess, battling for this job. Two of the most, at some points, praised and maligned quarterbacks for completely different reasons, and we're just getting nothing. So maybe Todd Monken is calm things down. I don't think that bodes well for Stefanski because things were a mess under Stefanski. No. This the articles and everything. I can't get my finger on it, but I got to give it the stock up to Cleveland, and I never thought I'd give them a stock up ever.
Well, let's revisit this one in November. Because if they lose, because you know how negative stories are. In Tampa, all the stories are good. Then we always laughed. It's the annual Jets expose. What was really happening? So let's
at the end of the year,
yeah. Because if they lose, then we'll find out that everything was terrible. But you're right. I totally agree. It's been nothing but good news out of Cleveland, which is unusual. Although if they lose, I know that will turn south.
That's true. All right. I've got one more. Do you have one more too?
No, go ahead. I'm okay. Good.
Listen, this is going to be a little nuanced, which is not really great for sports talk, but stay with me here. I got to go a stock down on Kyle Whittingham, the new head coach of the University of Michigan. And I realize how much other stuff has gone on at Michigan that this guy feels like a breath of fresh air. I think he misplayed the question he got at Media Day about Michigan versus Ohio State and what that rivalry is like. And you don't have to go in double barrel guns blazing and say, we're never going to lose to Ohio State. We hate them, this and that. But he downplayed it so much, Pearl. He was like, we can have a rivalry, but it doesn't mean we don't like them. Actually, let me read the quote because I don't want to misquote this guy. Okay, here's what he said. This is Kyle Whittingham, new coach, Michigan Wolverines on Ohio State. Quote, I just think a rivalry can be intense and emotional without the hatred factor. I don't think there's any place for that personally. I think Ryan Day is a good person, the Buckeyes coach. To sit here and say, I hate Ryan Day, I'd be making crap up because that's not true. I think he misplayed it. And I think this is his first misstep because Michigan, Ohio State is still maybe one of the last great rivalries that we actually have in sports right now. Like, it's okay to lean into that rivalry a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's so much crap going on at Michigan. Ward Manuel, their AD, is going to have to step down. All the stuff with Sharon Moore. We can go on and on and on. It's a laundry list. Despite the winning, Michigan has been in chaos. I just think you didn't have to mute it that much. Like, you can give the fan base a little bit of red meat because you're going to get that question. So you have time to prepare something.
Yeah. I totally agree with you in theory. I love that rivalry so much. My only caveat is that Kyle Whittingham is 400 times the man that I am. So I have trouble criticizing him because he's so stoic and he's just like.
But the motorcycle, is that it? The motorcycle?
I'm just a little afraid of Kyle Whittingham, so I don't really want to. But there is an argument being too cool for school is kind of badass. But you're right, not with this rivalry. This one in particular really just gets you going. Remember those? I just love any reference to that thing. I would have leaned into it too. There's a similar thing. I don't know if you saw the soundbite. Seahawks offensive lineman Gray Zabel was on with Chris Long, and he talked about how much he loved the guys on the Rams. He's like, I hate them because I want to beat them, but they're all good dudes. And I got to be honest, that's real talk from the NFL because after that game is over, you've been on a lot of fields, Maggie, post game. Like, they're pretty good friends after killing each other for 60 minutes.
Before we go, I want to give two topics, and you just tell me, is this a big deal? Is this not a big deal?
Got it.
College football wearing patches on the uniforms.
Not a big deal. These kids will buy the jersey. Your son will buy the jersey and not care at all. In fact, with the soccer jerseys, the one that says Emirates, I don't even know what team that is. I just know the logo. That's really good. That's Manchester United.
I was thinking about this actually. I'm like, all right, you put the patch on the uniform. If the New York Yankees can do it, anybody can do it. Like the storied pinstripes. You'd have to be New York to like understand that uniform carries a lot of whatever weight, expectations, history, legacy, all that. If the Yankees can put a patch on there, anybody can put a patch. But my thought was, how long does it take before these guys look like what the NASCAR dudes look like with just every square inch of their body is covered with something?
Well, it's funny. I think the figures are $17 or $18 million for the patch. Well, that'll buy you what, like a starting guard and a backup tight end. That money is not like the way they're spending right now is the real issue, Maggie. Like they need to collect a bargain with the players, because then what they're paying for the coaches to leave and to stay, like the cost, and the administrators are getting rich. Like that 17 million is a drop in the bucket. Somebody, and unfortunately it's going to be Congress, has to stop spending in college football because it's getting insane. And I'm not saying spend less on the players, spend less on everything. Like you're just throwing money, millions of dollars at everybody, and it's gonna, it doesn't seem to make any sense.
Last one, is this a big deal? Not a big deal. The Tony Romo arrest, the pullover, operating while intoxicated. Listen, luckily he didn't hurt anybody. He didn't hurt himself. There are parts of the arrest and the body cam footage that are just outrageous. Yeah. Outrageous. Yeah. Like him stretching before he does the sobriety walk is something we will never see again in our lives. Them asking him about, has he ever had any head injuries? And him sort of staring off into the distance, like remembering all those Eagles defensive ends and linemen and all those Giants defensive ends and linemen who crunched him over the years. Like, we haven't heard anything from CBS. I don't think he's going to lose his job. He was very respectful to the police, but obviously he made a big mistake. Is it a big deal or not a big deal?
I think it is a big deal because he has a lot of critics of the job he's been doing. I think his job, I think you're right, he is back, but I think he's on thinner ice than you ever would have imagined for him. I don't know what's AI and what's real from the Tony Romo video. I'm like, did that really happen? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, wait, did that really happen? And have you followed this whole grandma, grandpa thing where he said, I'm going to visit grandma and grandpa? And I was like, your grandma and grandpa are dead, but that's what he calls his parents. I get it. You're living it right now.
Absolutely. Everyone is nanny and pop-pops, and I don't call my parents by their regular names anymore. They're no longer mom and dad. They're now grandma.
All right. Can I make this is gonna get weird. You might have to edit this out.
Okay.
When Mike Pence was running for vice president, everyone thought it was really weird that he called his wife mother. But
well, they thought it was weird that he wouldn't have dinner with a woman without his wife present. I think that was also something that led to the weird.
But well, there was a lot going on. But he definitely called his wife mother, and sometimes I'll call Sarah mom. And it's like, wait, what's going on there? So, and I'm sure. So I don't even know how we got this, but like, once you have kids, like all the labels go to the heck. Like, I have two girls. I'll call them each other's names. I'll call them Sarah. I'll call them anything. Hey,
you're seeing it now out of the lens of your kid.
Yeah.
So it's
yes. So anyway, so Romo said a lot of weird things, and there are some explanations, but I think he keeps his job. But I got to tell you, I think CBS is now watching him closely. They could probably save a lot of money by moving on.
Okay, so that was my next point.
Yeah.
If you're going to use this, if say you're CBS, and we don't know how they think of him internally, like, yes, you're right. He gets a lot of criticism. We know at one point there was an article from Andrew Marchand years ago that they thought he wasn't as focused, and someone had to sort of pull him aside and say, hey, like, we need more research. We need you to be a little more on your P's and Q's. But we have no idea how they think of him internally. If they wanted to get off the $17 million a year that he's making, isn't this like the perfect time to do that? You could say, hey, you violated your contract. Everyone has a clause in their contract that if you bring damage onto the company you're working for, your contract can be terminated. I think they either have to make a decision right now. Either this is actually the reason we're getting rid of you, or we're going to just stay with you for the next 15 years.
But it's so, we're getting close to the season. In fact, they're broadcasting right now. I'm not sure there's enough time to find a new broadcaster. Is there any name that would jump to mind? Like, let's play a hypothetical. Romo's gone. The first thing that jumped to my mind, let me say, is they try and steal Greg Olsen from Fox because he got displaced by Brady, but he's under contract, so that's not going to happen.
I think what they would do is they would actually elevate JJ Watt.
Oh,
JJ had a very good first season, and Ian Eagle, and to put JJ with Jim Nance, I'm telling you, Ian Eagle is so good.
Yeah.
He can be good with anybody.
Yep, I agree.
He's one of those guys where not every play-by-play guy makes their color analyst better. Ian Eagle's a chameleon. Like, he can be whatever you need him to be for the color analyst.
Ian Eagle and Mark Jackson in Nets games in the 2000s. It was like a stand-up routine. And Mark Jackson's not funny with anyone. He's funny, but Ian brings out the best. Nance is pretty good with everyone too. That's another thing. Like, they compare a lot of guys with Nance.
But think about it. Ian is still doing radio on Westwood One. He's doing the Nets. He's doing CBS basketball. Like, he's constantly with a rotating cast of analysts. It's just like another day for him, whereas Nance now is scaled back. He's just doing football and golf. And, like, I think they would elevate Watt and then and then elevate everybody. And I don't know who moves up next then to be with Ian.
I got a different scenario.
Yeah.
What if they think Rodgers is coming to the booth next year? Now, Rodgers has said he doesn't want to do TV, but $40 million a year might change his mind. What if they do a year with Romo and then say, let's bring in Aaron Rodgers?
They could do that.
Russell Wilson too. Yeah.
Russell Wilson just joined CBS. Maybe you put him on games. I think there's a world where you just poach Kurt Warner and just grab him for a season.
Great, yeah.
He's great. He already does stuff. He works with Ian on Westwood One. Like, you can already just, I think he's with Ian. I think Romo, I don't think this story's done yet.
But here's the thing. Long term, even JJ Watt, you have Brady on Fox. They're going to want a quarterback. And I think Romo has some value. He's a big name. Yeah, I mean, listen, I know he's his critic, so I think they do at least a year of Romo. I would watch Aaron Rodgers because Rodgers said it's it. This is it, and he said he's not doing TV, but everybody says that. Okay,
Yeah.
wait, side topic. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, do you have a Rodgers thought that all of a sudden he's reconciled with his
Oh,
family and everything's good?
Amazing. I actually that weirdly made me very happy to see. I don't know why. I have a different thought. Did you watch Tom Brady at Fanatics Fest? I mean, this guy will basically he'll go on the corner and sell popsicles for $15. What is going on? Does he need all the he's in every commercial and everything? Like I've never seen a player cash in more in retirement, and it's kind of hard to watch.
Also, have you seen the backlash to this?
Yes.
Because Brady with Logan Paul was as cringe as it got.
Yeah.
And it was so inauthentic. And I think that people want Brady to keep the level extremely high. And not that famous people don't go to WWE. Maybe he's doing it because his kids think it's cool. There could be or just money. There could be a million reasons. But I think people want him to be a lot more selective in what he's doing. Like, Tom, you can't be this much in our lives. Like, we want you, but you can't seem like you're this accessible. Like, I could literally book you for my kid's bar mitzvah. Like, it can't be like that.
No, you're right. I mean, listen, this guy's still running the Raiders and the lead analyst for Fox, and he's got a million business interests. Why does he need to do a commercial for a blender too? I don't really get it. But listen, I wouldn't turn down money myself, so I get it. Hey, real quick, you went to Fanatics Fest, right? Did you go?
I did.
What was the vibe? It was similar.
This is what I realized and learned about Fanatics Fest, this like multi-day convention happening at this convention center in New York City. Pearl, it's a card collectors convention.
Yeah.
And everything else around it is just the dress up. Like that's just the outer, get you through the door with the celebrities and stuff. This is a card collectors convention. It's miles and miles of tables of people selling sports cards of every type and variety. And that's what hit me the most. Like, you can go there and all the fun installations and people doing podcasts there and whatever. This is for card collectors. Yeah. And so I went from table to table to have people show me what's the most expensive card that they had in the collection. Oh, wow. So I got some really fun answers and really cool, unique stuff. On Instagram, it kind of blew up. Not blew up. It got like 65,000.
No, but like, I would watch that in a second.
People were interested because it was like, oh, what's the most expensive? It was some really crazy stuff.
Yeah, no, you're good at coming up with things like that, because I remember we would arrive at Fanatics Fest and it'd be this huge sprawling thing. I'd be like, what do we do here?
What are we doing?
Yeah. And then I would always laugh. There'd be like some like former relief pitcher that only you recognize out of the group that you would
Dylan Betances.
Yeah.
I tracked him from across the room.
Yeah. And meanwhile, like there's like Strahan and Brady are 8 feet away. You're like, well, hold on a second. There's a guy who played for the Mets in 2009. I got to go talk to him.
So me. That's so correct. Yeah, it was cool. I also tried to do a video asking which athlete is winning 2026. Like, we're about at the halfway point of the year. What athlete? And I couldn't end up posting the video because everyone picked Jalen Brunson because it was in New York. Yeah. One person picked Jack Hughes, which I thought was inspired.
Kind of,
the Olympics, pretty good. But
he was a big part of the ESPYs. A lot of people, there's a lot of Hughes. Jalen Brunson won. I watched the ESPYs this year. Don't ask me why. But the World Cup, though, is like the story of the year, the rest of the year.
We got the rest of the year.
If Dak Prescott wins a Super Bowl for the Cowboys, that's going to get a lot of attention.
It could be him, but oh man, you're buying into that hype again. You said you wouldn't do it. Here you are.
Listen, is there a microphone in front of us? Yes, I will be buying the Cowboys hype until they're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs.
Well, another thing we haven't talked about, and I know we would be doing this every single day if we were still doing our daily show together, is what the heck's going on with the WNBA this year?
My God.
I don't want to say blanket, it's been a disaster, because clearly you have games going on every night. There has been a high level of basketball, but this league can't go a day. No. This league cannot go a day without drama. And some of it is their fault and some of it's not their fault. Like people, putting their political opinions on these women, okay, that's a little of the outside kind of coming the inside. But then you have Sophie Cunningham, and she's putting her political opinions out there. That's the inside going out. You have a video that the league posts, even if it's in jest, of Paige Beckers and Angel Reese betting on the All-Star game.
Bad idea.
Guys,
bad idea.
You know you can actually bet on the All-Star game.
And then they took it down too. It's like, yeah, I feel bad. Some social media person should be fired. I mean, it's a PR. Whoever's running the PR there really needs to step up their game. Because did you follow the Kathy Engelbert, Dan Patrick thing?
I was riveted by it. But first of all, Dan's 100% right. And what I don't think people understood about this is it's not, and Dan made this point very clear, but for some reason people didn't pick up on it. It's not that if she doesn't want to talk to a radio show, she never has to. Dan said Roger Goodell will not come on their show. You don't have to talk to a radio show if you're a commissioner. But if you schedule that interview and then you blow them off after making them wait for 2 hours, it's just so unprofessional.
Oh my God. I know. And it seems emblematic of where the WNBA is. They seem clueless about the public perception when you're right. They have a great product. And, Dan said, like, I'm a huge supporter of the WNBA. I want to see it grow. I like the basketball. He didn't want any of this stuff. Like he wanted to just do the interview, and it wasn't. That's the thing. The WNBA is tripping over themselves. They're creating some of the problems. You're right. Some of them are outside and have nothing to do with them, but they're creating their own problems that are totally unnecessary.
Also, you need a commissioner who's begging to get on the Dan Patrick show.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're early in your tenure, you need to have answers to these questions, right? And the answers might not be satisfying to everyone. Hell, how many times has someone in power? Look at Bill Belichick, another thing we haven't talked about since that happened. Bill Belichick, Michael Lombardi as GM gets placed on administrative leave. Oh, baby, that's going badly. And Belichick gets up there. He gives a non-answer, but you got to face it, Like you got to answer. Yeah.
Our guy Lombardi is talking about stock down. Not a lot of love in the media after all that went down, huh?
This, when he was in the media, he really pulled no punches.
Yeah.
So I think that there were a lot of people who are kind of waiting for him to get his comeuppance and really piled on. But to be fair, he is pretty arrogant. I mean, to call North Carolina the 33rd team, as in the 33rd NFL team, and then go 4-8 and get blown out by Wake Forest, like that's not a great look.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But listen, he's a Philly guy, so I have to support him.
That's it. You guys have closed ranks even more. You guys have closed ranks even more now with this LeBron.
No.
It's a fortress.
Yeah. No. Honestly, one thing about Lombardi is if he could be in the middle of a team meeting, if someone brought up the 2 guard on the Sixers, he'll drop everything and talk about the depth chart and Nick Nurse. I'm serious. Like I've seen him talk Sixers. It's his real passion, which is kind of fun.
All right. That's cool. Thanks for doing this.
Lots
of fun, lots to react to. And we'll be,
Yeah, we got to follow up on the Cowboys and LeBron and the Sixers. We have a lot to talk about moving ahead.
And the Browns. Oh, baby.
Oh, my God. Okay. Sounds good.
Bye, Pearl.
Bye.